This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Ride. Visit our friends at Caneswear. Use our code BIG-O10. You will get 10% off. And check it out. Go in person or online. And by the way, online, if you order over $99, you will get free shipping. So go out there and see Brett, all the great people, Jeff, all the guys out there, man. They know how to get it done. John, good people out there at caneswear.com. You know, Manny, I was talking about how this front office now with the Dolphins, they'll take some chances, not a lot of them, but they will risk, whether it's Tyreek, whether it's Mark Walton, they brought in, they gave him a chance, and they got rid of him right away. Preston Williams was a kid that had a lot of talent and should have been a really high draft pick, but his maturity issues, he fell out of the draft. They brought him, they kept him on the roster for a couple of years. He wasn't a bad guy. He was just immature and unfortunately really never got there. They should have figured it out when he was pushing Dogecoin. Really, that's really what it was. I'm not telling you.
That was the tell?
That was the tell for me, Dogecoin. I was like, yeah, that's not good crypto. But anyway, so they will take some chances, not crazy Jimmy Johnson-like chances, because back then he used to take all kinds of chances on the Dolphins. Manny, when it comes to Mario, I don't see a lot of risk. And so, and knowing Mario, who was a super quality individual, I don't think he's the kind of guy that can tolerate those kind of people around him very much because he is a hard worker. And I don't think he can tolerate laziness and all kinds of, so he's had to weed that out already that was there. But talk to me about philosophy for the Canes. How far are they willing to go to take a chance on a talent?
Well, listen, I think it depends on the individual and it depends on the relationship first and foremost. If it's a kid that for instance, in the transfer portal, right? It's somebody who maybe has a little bit of a checkered past. They had somebody like that. I forget the defensive lineman from Alabama that they picked up last year in the transfer portal. But this is a kid that on background, I can tell you, had all kinds of off the field issues at Alabama. I think he got into a fight with a professor, and I don't know if he got kicked out of school, but
Jesus,
there was drama. So Mario,
that didn't end well for that professor, I would imagine. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Some sort of physical confrontation that occurred. But anyway, Mario decided to take the kid on, only because I guess through getting to know him that he felt that maybe they could have a positive effect on him. The kid came here, didn't work out, and he got back into the transfer portal. Never ended up even being put on scholarship, but. Is he willing to take a chance on guys? Sure, but I think he's also willing to discard of them quickly if they're not going to work out. So I think he's a good judge of talent and character per se, not necessarily just talent, but a good judge of character. And in this day and age, you kind of have to be. There's no time to waste for any of these coaches.
Brother, I can't imagine Mario Cristobal putting up with any bullshit, bro. Quite honestly.
No.
I just can't. I can't imagine. He's not that guy in his life. He's an exceptional human being, a worker, a grinder, a reliable person, a man of his word, all those kind of things, bro.
Yeah.
I can't see a dude like that. And he's old school too, on top of all of that. Like, while he's not the oldest coach out there, that he's kind of a young coach. He's really old at heart, actually. You can tell. So I just don't see him having a long shelf life if you've got character issues on that team.
Yeah, and ultimately that's what he did. And from year 1 to year 2 is he weeded out a lot of the guys who were problems and just told them get out, hit the transfer portal. I think for most coaches, and you got to remember Mario played for Jimmy. Jimmy would take some questionable guys on, but he knew that he could control them in the locker room. He knew that on the field that he could get the most out of them that they needed. And sometimes it just doesn't translate. A guy might be wild off the field. You get him on the field and you just can't reel him in and get him to be what you want. And so I think Mario is the kind of guy that if he doesn't see it in practice, if he doesn't see it, happening in the locker room, then he's not going to waste his time.
You don't have to say the name now, even though people would love to hear it. Is there a guy right now that he took a chance on? Is there somebody right now like that on the roster? Can you think of it?
I'm thinking, I'm going through it now in my head as you asked me the question, and I don't, look, every
'Cause I
kid.
don't remember you or anybody else on the beat writing a story about a person that had a shady something somewhere else, and then they brought
Well,
him here. I don't remember that story recently. That's why I asked.
yeah, I mean, the only kid that's kind of notable that had a little bit of issues, that he even got some penalties on the field, was Jacoby George. Because I remember early on in his career, I think Jacoby ended up being suspended for something. I think this might have been for Manny Diaz when he first got to the program and stuff. So, but other than that, there's been nobody else notable that was sort of a problem that they had to deal with. And Jacoby had a great season last year. Yes, he had some dumb penalties, but Mario stuck with him and sort of like, hey, listen, the kid's talented. He's made some mistakes, but he's willing to work with it. So I think as long as he sees something on the field, he's going to work with the kid to straighten it out.
Yeah, no, it's just funny because you could tell Mario's not a guy that's
Yeah.
gonna bullshit around too much. All right, recruiting wise, you've been telling us it's right around the corner. What's coming?
Yeah, well, you had 16 visitors this weekend. I think 3 top 100 recruits here, a couple of kids committed to other programs. But look, I've tried to explain this to people who ask me all the time, how much should I care about recruiting anymore because of the transfer portal, right? Because look at how many, in the end, the transfers are the ones that come in and play right away. Here's what I would tell you. What you want is a coach like Mario Cristobal, who's going to give a damn about recruiting and invest the time and energy, because even if you don't get the kid the first go around, which happens many cases now, the second time around, if you're still in charge of that program and you recruited the hell out of the kid and you built a good relationship, but you didn't get him the first time around, you might get him the second. And I think that's what Miami fans have to appreciate about Mario and about this entire recruiting process. Because look, any one of these kids could commit now. They could commit a year from now. Previously, a year ago, they could have committed then, and then they go through the process. They go to another school, and they're like, "Oh, I want to go here now." So all of this sort of commentary and writing and all the podcasts, all the people who cover recruiting, it's a shit show. It really is, because in the end, you don't know if the kid's going to sign until December. So you can sit here and say, hey, he's committing or he's coming on a visit, get excited. That's all for the fans to just pass the time, because football it's you got to make it a 12-month calendar somehow. You got to provide content. So people want to talk about recruiting, great. Get excited about it. Get excited that some kid is visiting. But in the end, do you have a coach that is going to recruit that kid even after he signs somewhere else? Is he still going to maintain a relationship with that kid so that if the kid comes into the transfer portal? And I think that's what's happened with Mario. I think Mario has been such an elite recruiter for so long that when kids do get in the transfer portal, they tell their friends, hey, go to Miami. Mario's a good coach. And I think that's all that really matters right now. It doesn't matter the names, doesn't matter the kids, doesn't matter where they sign. It's the fact that they're bringing all this talent in every single weekend for the next few months, or for the next month. And all these kids are getting to see Miami and getting to know Mario. And we know he's going to be here for a long time. He's got 7 years left on that contract, or 8 years left on that contract. So it is what it is, man. Like, the names, we can talk about whatever player you want, but come December is when we'll know whether or not these guys sign, and then we'll see what happens in the transfer portal.
Canes fans or college football fans get to be like teachers now.
Mm-hmm.
So teachers have 30 students in each class, I guess, on average or whatever, and
Yeah.
they're probably teaching 200 kids, a day or something like that. And it's like a coach. He recruits 200 kids. Well, guess what? Bunch of them are going to leave. Bunch of them
Yep.
are going to tune you out. And there's only going to be a couple of the students that you're going to reach as a teacher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then that's where you find your happiness.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to reach all 30, but if you reached 10 or 15 of them because they actually give a shit about learning, you're in. So the coach is going to recruit the 200, and you as a fan, you're going to see the 200, and then you're going to follow, and you're going to end up with about 30 or 40 when it's all said and
Yep.
done. through the process. And so,
and maybe 10 of them are good.
Yeah.
And maybe 10 of them are good. That's just, it's the way it is. And that's what I think people forget about, that there's so many kids, there's so many names out there.
Right.
What you want is a coach like Mario who is fully engaged in the process and cares and wants to get to know every single one of them.
Because he's going to have a better chance at keeping more than most, because he actually gives a shit and works at it.
And he's probably going to be a better judge of talent and hit on them more than others because he really gets to know the character of the kid.
Yeah. I would agree with that. All right, what do you got going on at The Athletic, my friend?
Well, if you do want to read about what's going on in recruiting, I did spend a lot of time working on that the past week. I did a whole thing on the state of Florida. It came out earlier this week, previewing, all the key visitors, the big names, the big name recruits anyway, the ones that are most intriguing for the Canes, the Seminoles, the Gators, UCF, USF, all of them. And then I did the same thing for the SEC, the entire SEC conference. My colleague at The Athletic, Grace Rayner, wrote a big thing on the ACC. We have one on the Big 12. So if you want to read about recruiting and who every one of these schools are after, who are the names to know, you can go read it there. I'm just not going to sit here and regurgitate 200 names because I'm going to bore the hell out of you.
Yeah. No, definitely. Definitely. All right. Make sure you subscribe to the New York Times, The Athletic. All right.
By the way, I see the question in the comments. Everybody's asking me, is that a Bills or a Giants jersey? Can I answer the question?
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
It's a Kenny Golladay jersey from the Giants that I got for $20. And Kenny Golladay won me a fantasy league championship. So any guys who win me a fantasy even if they're obscure, no name guys that have gone, it's I end up buying the jerseys and keeping them here in my
and Manny is also the guy that will buy a sports shirt with any logo on it because he got it for $4.
Yes, exactly. I'm all for that, man.
He's explained that. I forgot which one he was wearing. He goes, dude, I got this for like $8. What do you want me to do? It was cheap. And whatever it was, it might have been a Chargers.
It was a Chargers jersey. Yes,
it was.
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Justin Herbert, who also won me a fantasy title. So there you go. I mean, that's I go with the guys who win me fantasy championships. So that whenever I buy a jersey or a shirt,
the only place Justin will ever win in fantasy.
Yeah, I don't think Harbaugh's going to do anything over there, so we'll see.
We'll see. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Manny, have a great weekend, my brother. We'll catch up on Tuesday.
All right, brother. Take care.
You got it. There you go, Manny Navarro. Visit our friends at Caneswear, caneswear.com. Order over $99. You will get free shipping, and use our code BIGO10. You will get 10% off whether you go live or online. It does not matter. Use it. Caneswear.com.
This is the Big O Show.